Hello, everybody. My name is Noah.
My name is Gregor.
Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive analysis into StockX sneaker data. Sneakers are an interesting topic to analyze. The market for these hype shoes is very volatile, and the resale game is a massive market in this niche. These sneakers range in price, often depending on brand, and some shoes can resell at a massive price of over $4,000. This market is especially interesting to analyze because the average person would have a hard time buying shoes at a retail price because many people buy up the entire stock of new shoe releases with bots. This means that the average consumer is subject to buying shoes at this higher resale price. Now, this presentation will hone in on two brands, Yeezy, which is Kanye West, the notorious rapper's shoe brand, and Off-White, which is a more expensive brand that does a lot of collaborations and represents the designer space. And the analysis of these brands will help give you a general consensus of the market. After listening to this presentation, you will have a good overview of the market with important information to know as a buyer and as a potential up-and-coming seller. We want to help you find the best value.
And in order to do this, we're going to first take you through summary statistics of the sneaker data that we have. As Noah said, we have an overall data set that is further split into one that is solely Yeezy and one that is solely Off-White sneakers. These two cover the total scope of the data. And so first, we're going to run you guys through that and explain some important data points within it. Then we will be doing crosstabs, further comparing and highlighting important factors about Yeezy versus Off-White sneakers. After that, we'll be going into some time series graphs, looking at spikes in sales for both Yeezy and Off-White and the market as a whole, and when the costs of the sneakers are relatively high or low.
And I will be going into the best sneakers to buy and sell and the best sizes to buy and sell as a consumer.
Okay. First, we have our summary statistics for the overall data set. And a couple notable things to point out here are the mean price of the sneakers is roughly $200, while the mean resale price is roughly $450, which leaves a profit margin of over 100%. And we can also see that reselling sneakers is a relatively safe game, as the minimum profit anyone made, or I guess maximum loss, was $34, as denoted by the negative sign in the profit column. We can also see that even people who didn't do super well selling sneakers still made around $60 in the 25th percentile. And we can see that there's potential for massive gains selling sneakers, as shown by the maximum resale price and profit of almost $4,000. And going into Yeezy versus Off-White sneakers summary statistics, the two things that I'd like to point out are one, the mean original price and the mean profit for both Yeezy and Off-White. As you can see here, the mean original price for Yeezys is $220, while the mean profit is $140. And we can see for Off-Whites, the mean original price is less than Yeezys. However, the mean resale price and profit is much higher, leaving a profit of roughly $500 for the average Off-White sneaker sale. And going into crosstabs, further breaking down the data, we can see the resale price of both Yeezys and Off-Whites on average, referenced again here, where this is just a more simple visualization that Off-Whites tend to sell for almost double the cost of Yeezys. And we can see a small trend forming in the conditional crosstab of Yeezys and Off-Whites based on sneaker size, where as size increases, the sneakers slowly increase in price. And once we get to those very large sizes, there's a massive jump for the outliers. I would also like to point out that for Yeezys and Off-Whites, the empty tabs in the crosstab are from points of data where we had no Yeezys or Off-Whites sold in that particular size. And going into the number of sneakers sold each month for Yeezys and Off-White over time, our data covered the scope of September 2017 to February 2019. We can see three notable spikes for monthly sales in sneakers. Firstly, we have December of 2017, and then we have July of 2018 and December of 2018. We can see here that both of the December months are from Christmas holidays and people buying sneakers likely for family members or for other loved ones. And this leaves the July 2018 spike unexplained. We would like to attribute this to Kanye West dropping two albums, Ye and Kids See Ghosts, in collaboration with Kid Cudi in 2018. This happened in early June for Ye and middle to late June for Kids See Ghosts. and this brought a lot of attention to Kanye West and therefore the Yeezy brand, contributing to a spike in sales. I'd also like to point out that most of these spikes are attributed solely to Yeezy sales, and we believe this is because Yeezys tend to sell for much cheaper, making them more realistic for people to buy and more likely to be affected by increased demand. And lastly, I have the average resale price of sneakers by month. And here we can see that Yeezys follow a relatively normal downwards trend as more Yeezys start filling the market and they become more common over time. Whereas Off-White has two notable drops in November of 2017 and in April of 2018. And this correlates with when the Off-White Vaporfly sneakers dropped in November and in April. And Vaporflies are a sneaker that are more common, produced more in mass, and are easier for people to get. Therefore, they tend to sell for less money than other Off-White variations of sneakers.
Now I'm going to be doing a deep dive on the best sneakers, individual sneakers to buy and sell. Looking at Off-White data, we can see that this line chart is very informative as a consumer. As you can see from the graph, a lot of these shoes resale prices vary drastically from the retail price. Now looking specifically, we can see that individual shoes like the Air Presto, the Jordan 1 Chicago, and Nike Zoom Flies have the most drastic difference in pricing. This means as a general consumer, we want to avoid these shoes, and as a seller, these are shoes that we should target on the market. And on the other side, the shoes that of Low Volt and Zoom Flies have very similar resale to retail prices, and these would be good shoes to buy as a consumer. Now, looking at the Yeezy side of the spectrum, we can see shoes like Turtle Doves and Core Black Red Mousse have the largest discrepancy in prices, and these are shoes that as a consumer we should avoid. And shoes like the Sesame and the Butter and the static variations of Yeezys are very close in pricing. This is due to the high volume of these shoes, so there is very relatively low resale demand. As you can see, both of these shoes follow a similar trend, with shoes that have lower volume being spiked way higher in price and shoes with higher volume being relatively the same in their pricing. Now looking at sizing, we can see differences in prices from each size. The data represents that sizing generally follows a positive distribution, but is slightly positively correlated. But in general, people with larger feet are going to have to pay more money for these highly coveted shoes. It is also interesting to note that the very large shoe sizes resell at an extremely high price. And we believe that this is likely due to rarity in manufacturing, as there is very low supply, which causes the price to skyrocket. Now looking at the Yeezy side of the spectrum, we see that it follows a similar pattern, but more of a flat distribution, still relatively positive though. And along with the Off-Whites, we can see with Yeezys that the phenomenon of large shoes spiking in price is very relevant and is a very big factor in this market. Now, to wrap it up in conclusion, the sneaker market is a very volatile market that is highly based on the resale game. These shoes are very hard to buy at a retail price due to a large majority of botting in the market and people buying all the stock. So it is a very volatile market. Societal factors also heavily impact this market. A lot of things in society, like Kanye dropping an album in Christmas time, very impact sneaker sales. We can see there's a large discrepancy in retail versus resale prices, but there's still quote unquote loopholes that you can find as a consumer in order to find the shoes that best fit your value. We hope that this presentation educated you on the sneaker market and provided you with interesting insight on how to buy your next best